Hi there, in this video I'm going to share with you the number one barrier to singing. Now, I've been singing for 25 years at the time of making this video, and I've been teaching singers for 22 years. So I've been around singers, I've been a singer for a really long time. And I find that this one thing is what holds people back the most. Now, you might be surprised to hear what it is, but stick around to the end because I'm going to share with you how you can overcome it. Now, before we dive in, if you are serious about singing, I recommend taking my free 5-day singing course. You'll find that in the pinned comments or in the description. All you need to do is go to the link there, pop your details in, and I'll send that directly to your inbox. If you don't see it in your inbox within a couple of hours, just check your spam or your junk mail, bring it out of there into your main inbox, and make sure that you make me a contact, whitelist me, and then you'll get all of the lessons from that 5-day course. So you may be surprised to know what the number one barrier to singing is, and it's not really to do with technique, although technique is probably the number 2 reason. It's actually mindset. So most singers, or most people who aspire to be singers, or people who like singing but don't necessarily want to become a singer, they just enjoy singing, they don't believe that they're as good a singer as they actually are. And I find this much more often to be the case than the other way around, although there are some people who believe they are much stronger singers than they are. That's a different issue, a different problem. But when you have this belief, this imposter syndrome, it holds you back because it stops you from challenging yourself. It stops you from progressing as far as you could, and it stops you reaching your potential. Now, what that means to you, if you are really serious about music and you want to become a serious professional musician, it means that you're not actually going to reach as many people as you could. You're not going to bring out the best in yourself as an artist. Now, what I like to share with my singers is that singing isn't really about you. Once you've done the work, once you're on stage, the performance isn't about you. It's about giving your audience an entertaining time. So think of it as, even if it's a free gig, so these people have gotten ready, they've come out, they've travelled, they've chosen to travel to your gig. Even if they've gone to see a different band or a different artist on the lineup, if they're there in the audience, they're your audience. If they're there while you're on stage, they're your audience. They've chosen to come to see you over thousands, well, depending where you are, but in London certainly, thousands of other artists that they could have chosen to see, and they've chosen to come to see you, and they're sharing their time with you. So it's really important to give them the best time that you can. Now, that doesn't always mean being the best singer on the night, and it doesn't even always mean being the best singer that you can possibly be at that time. It just means making sure that you're giving them the best of you. So that could be performance-wise, it could be your engagement with them on stage, and yes, it might be that you put everything into singing, but it isn't always the answer. So I digressed a little bit there, but coming back to you and your mindset around singing, if you let this hold you back, you continue to let this hold you back, it's going to creep into other areas. Now, with mindset, with NLP, all of these kind of neuroscience approaches, what we know is that how we do one thing is how we do everything. So if you have imposter syndrome around singing, you feel you're not as good as you should be, you're probably having that in other areas of your life. So that means if you're holding back in this one area, you're probably holding back in pretty much all areas of your life. So what could you do? What could be possible if you were to believe in yourself more? So some of the singers that come to me, all they actually need is someone to believe in them. I had a singer that came to me in 2018, and she was on a journey. She had already started singing lessons. She had to change singing teachers. I think her singing teacher went on tour and wasn't able to teach her anymore. So she came to me, and her ability wasn't the issue. Her learning wasn't the issue. She could have she could have used YouTube videos, she could have used courses, well, she could have used my YouTube videos because they actually work. She could have used courses, she could have gone to group lessons, but what she actually needed was a person who believed in her and could give her the encouragement and the confidence that she needed and the push that she needed at her own pace. And so now she went on to do a degree in music. She teaches piano, and she's a professional singer now. So she's doing all of the things that she set out to do. But at one point, even though she knew she was capable, she didn't have that self-belief. And so I was able to help with her. We only worked together for a year, and she did her audition for music school, and she passed with flying colours, and the rest is history. So what can you do if you feel like you know you have some ability, you know you have some talent, but you're not quite feeling like the singer that you think you should be, or you're having imposter syndrome, or you're feeling you're not quite good enough? There are a few questions that you can ask yourself, and there have been times when, well, many times when I felt that I'm not as good as I should be as a singer, as a performer, and as a voice coach and singing teacher, and many times as a music lecturer as well. I was a music lecturer in college in London for 10 years, in colleges in London for 10 years, and I became course leader at one point. And there have been many times when I felt that I wasn't quite good enough. There have been times when I've been on stage in front of thousands of people and thought, who the hell are you kidding? You're not good enough for this. You don't deserve this. So it happens to everyone. I'm sure everyone who has performed has had moments like that. And if they haven't, then, you know, fair play to them, and all power to them. So there are a few questions that you can ask yourself to help yourself to understand how important you are to the music industry, even if you're just singing in a pub. I don't mean to demean anyone's career at all. Or even if you just go out to karaoke, you know, you could be giving someone a good night. I know people who go to karaoke and they never even sing, and they go every week for years and years and years and years because they just like the atmosphere and they like watching people do something that they feel that they'll never be able to do. So even that is really important. I don't want to stress the word important because that kind of puts pressure on you, but you get my drift. So the first thing you could ask yourself is, what do I love about singing? So I encourage you to do this now. So get a piece of paper and a pen. Remember pen and paper? I use pen and paper all the time. I'm surrounded by pens and notebooks here. But when you write things out, rather than putting it in your phone and rather than just thinking about it, it makes it more solid, it makes it more real. And actually the act of writing causes more of a synthesis between your head and your hand. So get a pen and paper and write down, what do I love about singing? Write down 10 things that you love about singing. And when you've thought of 10, write down 5 more. So just click pause and do that. The next thing I want you to ask yourself, and be really serious about this, is what do I love about my singing voice? Or what do I love about my voice? And I want you to write down 20 things that you love about your voice. And it might just be that your mum loves it when you sing. I have a friend, Brona, and she is also an amazing singer. She's a very different type of singer. She's an Irish folk singer. She's got a beautiful, beautiful voice, and I love her voice as much as she loves mine. But she makes me sing all the time. Whenever we're together, she makes me sing. And it's really lovely to know that just, you know, even if it's just a verse and the chorus down the pub, that gives her so much joy. So have a think about that. What do I love about my voice? So what I love, one of the things I love is that I know that just singing a verse and a chorus gives my friend Brona joy. So click pause and write down 20 things. When you've thought of 20, write another 10. Okay, so now that you're back, what I want you to do now is think of what other people have said to you that are complimentary about your voice, even if at the time you haven't believed it. So think of all of the things that anyone has ever said since the time you were a child to today. The next question can be quite challenging. I've asked a few people this and they found it really challenging. So I do want to caveat that if it goes too deep, you may need to just take some time, but it might not be too deep for you. So have a think to yourself. And I've thought this many times in my life, because at some point in 2001, I decided that singing was the only thing I wanted to do. I chose one thing. This is part of a coaching thing I did. I chose one thing and I chose singing. And then when I'd chosen singing and I was deep in singing and deep in music, it was about 8 years in, and I thought, oh my goodness, what if something happened and I could never sing again? So I want you to think to yourself, what would it mean to you? What would it mean to me if I could never sing again? Take some time and write down everything that comes to mind. Please don't hold back. So click pause. What might it mean if I could never ever sing again? So now that you're back, I want you to consider this, because it may not have ever come up for you before. If you've ever done any kind of coaching or NLP or neuroscience or anything down that road that's to do with personal development, it may have come up in other areas, you may not have ever come across this at all. So as I said earlier, singing is important to the world, right? So as someone who has sung for a very long time, and it's literally the number one thing in my life, if you're not as obsessed with it as I am, you may not feel that it's important, but singing is actually really good for your health. It's good for your well-being, it's good for your mental health, it's good for your emotional health, and it's good for your physical health. So aside from all of the other things about being entertaining, if you're in a group and you're singing with other people, it helps you to bond with those people in a way that pretty much no other activity can, music and singing. Ask yourself this: what do I need to believe to know that my voice matters? Because someone said this to me a long time ago and I didn't believe them, but it's absolutely true. There is someone out there who is waiting to hear your voice. So press pause again, take some time. What do I need to believe to know that my voice matters? So now that you're back, I hope that this has helped you to believe in yourself a bit more as a singer. If you're still having doubts, go back over these exercises. I still do this every now and then. I don't have as many blips as I used to, but I still do. I'm human. And I ask myself these questions every now and then. And then I remember, actually, there's someone out there. Because the reason I know that is that you're here watching this video. And if I hadn't made it, you wouldn't be able to. So I hope that this has helped you. Please share, if you feel comfortable to, what has helped you most about this video in the comments. Click like and remember to subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you get all of my future videos, and share this with someone else that you think it will help. Now, you don't only need to apply it to just, only limit yourself to these questions for singing. If it comes up in other areas of your life, which it probably will, take these same questions and apply those to other parts of your life as well. And you'll find in just a few weeks, you'll feel a lot more positive and a lot more confident about your singing and about your life in general. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Stay hydrated. Ciao!